Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to part two of this mini series on showing you the exact pathway on how to grow a highly profitable solo coaching business. My name is Josh Dexter. I'm the owner of SoloCoach, who helps coaches just like yourself grow a highly profitable solo coaching business without the need of a team, without the need of a VA, without the need of switching to a group coaching model and trying to find your way to actually scale your coaching business. In fact, we want to remain one-to-one. We want to keep that passion alive, and we want to make sure that we're just paid for what we're worth, and we're enjoying the business again. And with the rise of like cost of living and travel and the way that the world is, everybody's got their own idea of success, but we're the coaches who remain passionate about what we actually do. We're the coaches that remain passionate about getting great results and delivering fantastic customer service to our clients. We just want to build a system that takes the pressure off our shoulders, that removes the struggle, that takes us away from feeling stuck and feeling stagnant. And in fact, we're earning the money we want to be earning. We're living the life we want to be living. We're working with incredible people on a day-to-day basis. Therefore, we're nice and excited every time that we wake up in the morning. And these are the pivots that we actually want. And this is exactly what I do and exactly what I do with my clients. So again, a nice warm welcome to part two out of four in this mini series. Okay, so how do you become highly profitable as a solo coach without hiring staff or switching to a group model? This is exactly what we're going to go through in part two today. Okay, so the old way and how you're coaching right now. Let's just start here. So we all started our online coaching business because we wanted a lot more freedom. We wanted a lot more flexibility in our lives. And instead, we now feel like we've hit that next ceiling. We feel like we're now trapped, and we feel like ultimately we've built some form of prison for ourselves, and we feel handcuffed, and we feel like we've just got a job again. Because the moment that you're working with 40, 50 clients and we've hit that next ceiling that you believe that you've got right now, we feel handcuffed to our laptop, handcuffed to our phone, and we're not actually living the freedom that we set out to create in the first place. We're missing out on experiences. We're missing out on being present with our families. We're missing out on doing the things that we wanted to do when we started this entrepreneurial journey. Okay. And this is where we're kind of at right now. And you might be sat there every single week, you're manually delivering coaching calls, and you're manually delivering coaching notes and doing plan amendments, and you're doing Zoom call after Zoom call after Zoom call, phone call after phone call. You're living on your WhatsApp, you're living in your DMs, you're just not enjoying the process anymore. Let's be honest, let's be frank, okay? You're starting to really hate what you do and hate coaching, and this is a common conversation that I'm having with coaches like yourself on a day-to-day basis, okay, which is a shame. It's a real shame. We start our coaching journey out of passion. We start our coaching journey because we want to help people, and we've got a skill set that can get people the result that they deserve. But instead, we're suffering. The coach yourself, you're actually suffering in that process because you're looking after everybody else and you're not looking after you first, okay? And this is a common problem. Okay, so I just want to rewind a little bit and take you back to before I get into how to combat all of this and solve this big problem. I actually want to rewind things to when I was actually at school, and this is where my love and my curiosity for education really kicked in. I was naturally a very curious child at school, very curious. And this one lesson really set things apart for me, because I remember being in my English class, and reading has never been my strong point. I can read, by the way, I can read, but my mind has always read things faster. I can read things faster in my head than when I can say it out loud, and that's why when I do these videos, for example, I can't use a teleprompter because I'm reading it faster then I can actually process that and actually say it out loud. Okay, and I've always been that way inclined. I can read in my head very, very quickly, but I can't process it very well and then say it out loud at the exact same time simultaneously. And I've always had that problem since I was a kid. And I remember being at school in my classroom, and at the time in English, we would take it in turns to stand up and read a portion of this book called Mice of Men. Everybody in my sort of age group read the same book. It's part of the syllabus back at school when I was at school. And it was a common syllabus that everybody went through. Okay, and I remember when it got to my turn, dreading it. I mean, I was sweating, I was nervous, my foot was tapping, because I know I'm not the best, and I'd done this already up until this point quite a few times and felt really embarrassed, quite red. I mean, there were girls in the class as well, and you can kind of imagine not the most exciting thing for me to do. Very, very scared and very nervous and very shy. Okay, when it came to my English classes, because of that insecurity that I actually had. And I remember this one time I stood up and I'm like, right, I don't really have a choice here. My English teacher was Miss Anderson. In fact, this AI image looks very, very close to what she looked like when I actually created this AI image for this slide just here. And I started reading, and by the time I got to the second or the third page, I remember snapping. I remember I was so embarrassed and I was so shy and so nervous that all of those feelings started to create anger. Anger with myself, anger that I couldn't just read a line and read a paragraph and read a book out loud to the class. It used to just piss me off, and it got to a point where I was so frustrated with myself this one time that I snapped, and I actually said halfway through a sentence, I was like, oh, fuck this. And I slammed the book down just out of anger. And I remember Miss Anderson in rage. You can imagine you're at school and you swore. When I was at my school and you act like that, like, get out of my class, get out. Got censored detention, got kicked out of my English class, and had my parents called in, and because of my behavior apparently. And no one was listening to my side of the story. Now, the thing that frustrated me the most in that moment is the last two times that I'd actually stood up, the last 2 or 3 times I'd stood up and been in that position and stumbled and struggled with my wording. I'd actually approached Miss Anderson at the end of class each of those times and said, Miss, I really, really struggle in regards to like standing up and actually reading. Because I'm reading it in my head, but I can't process it. I can't say these words out loud, okay? And her response was always, okay, you need to study more. You need to learn what these words actually mean in order to say it. She just didn't listen to me. She was coming back to me with advice, but I just needed to be heard. And it was around this sort of time, coming back to my point here, I remember going home and I remember studying of Mice of Men, okay, and reading that book in my own time. I actually read that book 3 times over, even went and watched the film as well. And then when it came to our exams at the end of the year, I got an A. And I remember walking past Miss Anderson, because I was in a different class by this point, walking past Miss Anderson with the biggest smug smile on my face that you can imagine. And she couldn't really believe that I'd got that grade. But the thing that it taught me was, it wasn't the syllabus, it wasn't what I needed to learn, it was how I was being taught, it was how I was being taught education. The one way that teachers deliver education is phenomenal. I mean, this isn't a slam at Miss Anderson, by the way. Teachers are taught to follow a syllabus, follow a curriculum, and teach a subject in the way that they think is best to a large group of people. And it's up to you as the student to take away from that information what you want to in the way that you want to. And this is why you have some people in the classroom when you were at school, and also in our adult life, people in the classroom who absolutely excel because it really clicks and really connects. You have some people that are mediocre, but they're quite clever anyway. And you have some people that fail and then turn out to be multimillionaires in business afterwards. Like there is this absolute discrepancy in regards to skill set, knowledge, and intelligence, and then comparing it to a grade at the very end of that. Okay, so, and I realized this very, very early on because I used my own initiative, went out there, and I learned syllabus in my own way, and aced that class, which I was very, very proud of. But it was all done in my own time. It wasn't done from the teacher, okay? But it was a big lesson that I actually learned. So after that point, I actually started to study, as weird kids actually do. Okay, it's not what most kids are doing when they're a lot younger. But I started to have a look at different ways of education, because it fascinated me, the fact that I could go away, learn something that I was terrible at, and get an A in that particular subject. I was fascinated how I was actually able to do that. And again, just out of pure curiosity, I've always been a very curious person. And what I realized was there's actually 3 layers of education. There's not just one way, there's 3 layers, okay? So the first one is teaching. So teaching is where you take one piece of information and you deliver it to a large group of people, so one to many. You deliver this to a large group of people in that one way, and it's up to the students, the pupils, the clients. What they take from that is completely up to them. We've got that variance there, okay, as I've already mentioned, okay, and that's just one way of delivering education. Next, then you have coaching, and this is what sparked my interest to begin coaching when I was just 16, when I started fitness coaching, delivering client plans when I was actually at the gym, and I was writing people's plans out and giving them to the kids at school so they could put on muscle and put on size and gain strength. And this whole process sparked my curiosity and got me into the coaching industry just out of my curiosity and not obsession for education. So coaching then is one-to-one. This is what coaching is. Coaching isn't one-to-many, it's one-to-one. This is where you work with the client specifically. Everything is bespoke, and you're working with the client to help and assist and aid the client to get them from point A to point B, get them from their starting position to the goal that they want to achieve. It's nothing to do with you. Your job as a coach is to assist that client in order to help them to their goals. And that's what coaching is. It's a one-to-one service, okay? And then the final one, we have mentoring, okay? So again, mentoring's had this bad rap, a lot of confusion in the industry, especially in very, very recent years. But the reason it has done is because most people don't know what mentoring is. And mentoring is all about just passing down real life stories and examples from a real life journey, okay? So that's what mentoring is, okay? So most people join a mentor or join a mentoring service, and they might end up with a teaching service, and then they get annoyed. Oh, I've been missold. And you're right, you probably have been missold if you're getting that, okay? Or you're being given quick win tactics, or you've joined a mentorship and you've actually got a mentoring service, but because you as the client, you don't understand what a mentoring service is, you're annoyed that you're not seeing the progress that you actually want, okay? A mentor's job is to simply pull back the curtain and tell you exactly what they did. That's it. It's not the same as a coaching service. A coaching service is all about you as the client. A mentoring service is all about you, what you did as a mentor. This is the pathway that I personally follow. You take from that whatever you kind of want. Now, there's some very valuable lessons in that, especially if a mentor has achieved exactly what you want to achieve. How did you do it? I want to know how you did it, but it's your then job as a client to pick up parts of that journey and pull them into your own journey instead. Okay, so we have teaching, which is one-to-many. We have coaching, which is one-to-one, but about the client. And then we have mentoring, which is passing down real stories and real examples from the success that mentor has actually had. And they're the 3 levels of delivering education, okay? And I saw this very, very early on. Now, moving on from that, going back to my story in that English class, the one thing that I realized is people learn in different ways. And this is something that I've learned from my entire coaching career now, 14 years at the time of actually recording this, okay? Now, 30% of people on average, they learn best from watching. And this is where you'll find clients where they won't necessarily read a document, they won't necessarily listen to a podcast or anything like that, but they'll watch a movie or they'll watch a podcast and they'll watch somebody doing what they want to do, and they learn from that process. 30% of people on average learn from watching, okay? We then have 35% of people on average learn from doing. So telling them what to do, and they might go out there. This is an entrepreneurial trait. They'll take messy action, but they'll start taking action immediately, and they'll learn as they're actually doing that thing. Okay, so let's say it's creating a course as a random example. Okay, the people that do it will just start creating the course and finish the course, and then they'll make improvements on it after it's actually done. So they'll just get the job done and learn as they're doing it and make it better and better and better. Okay, so that's what 35% of people actually do. Okay, on average, they learn from doing the thing rather than watching, listening. They get bored. In fact, they're just itching to give it a go. Okay. You then have 20% of people that learn from listening. Okay, this is where I found that I fell into a multitude of these categories. Okay, and you will have people that learn from all four of these categories, and they've got a mixed bag. But the point is, every single person is different. 20% of people then on average learn the most from listening. So they'll sit in a room and they're the quietest people in the room, and all they want to do is listen to the conversation. Listen to the education. Okay, they just want to listen. They want to sit in their own thoughts. They want to absorb that information, and then they've got to sit in it. They've got to sit in it and let that information just process, so then they understand it. Okay, and then 15% of people on average, they learn from either reading or writing. Okay, so reading books, reading blogs, reading documents. Okay, they learn from reading. Or if they're on a call, they'll write things out, they'll write their own notes. So they learn from reading or writing, okay? And we find this split now between these four aspects in regards to how people learn the best, okay? So we've got 3 ways to deliver education, but then there's 4 ways, additional ways that people then learn, okay? And this is something that I've picked apart on over the years, and it's really helped me with my coaching process, okay? So, moving on, just giving you an example. We've got those 3 areas of delivering education. We've got teaching, we've got coaching, we've got mentoring. And then we've got 4 ways in the way that people actually learn. And again, people can learn in a couple of ways, in maybe 3 of the ways, maybe all 4 of the ways. Some people just like to isolate and learn from one, okay? So what we've got here is an example, okay? This is an example that I've actually put together and I share with my clients in regards to the 12-point framework to make sure that you deliver the best damn service, educational service that there is on the planet, okay? Because we want to cover all 3 aspects of teaching, coaching, mentoring, not just one. At the moment, you as a coach, you're probably just trying to coach. You're not thinking about teaching or mentoring, you're just coaching, which is very, very common, and that is absolutely fine. It's got you this far. But what we're talking about here is how to build a highly profitable solo coaching business, okay? So in that, you need to learn how to be the best educator that you possibly can be. So we have teaching, coaching, and mentoring. Then we have the 4 ways in which your clients will learn the best from you. And if they're learning the best from you in the best way, they're going to get the best results. They're going to stay on a lot longer, okay? They're going to tell their friends, therefore you get more referrals. Your business will benefit in the way that you educate your clients. And this is why this is so important. So across those 3, teaching, coaching, mentoring, and across those 4, watching, doing, listening, reading, we have a 12-point system that we can make sure that we cover in regards to taking someone from point A to point B, from their starting position to the result when we're delivering our service. And this is what's going to separate you apart, okay? So just looking at this as an example, okay? So let's just start with the teaching aspect, okay? The teaching column that we've got here. In order to deliver the teaching aspect of your program, okay, let's pre-record 4 video lessons that's really going to help our client get from point A to point B, okay? Let's record them once, they're then stored, they're then pre-recorded, and we're going to offload them to our client at a very specific time throughout the journey that's going to be right for them. Brilliant, cool. So that's the teaching element in regards to the clients actually watching. We tick that first point, okay? Now, still on the teaching column, a framework to then follow after each lesson. So after each lesson that they've actually watched, if there's an actionable framework that comes attached to that pre-recorded lesson, that is then an aspect where your clients can then learn from doing. Okay, so they want to go ahead and actually do it. We've ticked that second box, that second point. Okay, listening, we can then take that video lesson, extract the audio and put it onto platforms such as Spotify. Okay, just as an example. We've then got the audio file that your clients can then listen to in their own time, whether they're driving the car, they're at the gym, or they've got their headphones on at home, for example. They're listening to that information. Okay, we then have the reading and the writing. Let's say we've designed a physical workbook that we actually deliver to the home address of that particular client, going through the information that we actually want to educate our client with. Fantastic, there's point number 4. So now what we've done in the teaching column is we've created all 4 points of covering and just making sure that we are covering all bases to make sure that from a teaching perspective, our clients are going to learn. And this is what we want. And if our clients, and we're guaranteeing that our clients learn, we're guaranteeing that they're going to progress. Okay, really, really important. Okay. Now, moving on to coaching. Okay, coaching, anytime one-to-one video call support with you as the coach, as the solo coach. That is then an element of watching, because they're on a video call, they're on a Zoom call as an example, Teams call, whatever software you actually use. Okay, so this is now a Zoom call that's one-to-one with your client and yourself as the coach. Okay, that's the watching element of coaching. Okay, next point in the coaching column, we're then going to offer bespoke, actionable tasks for progression for that client. So we've finished that video call and we're now going to give actionable tasks. Right, go ahead and do this, do this, do this, do this. Brilliant. Those doers then, from a coaching aspect, are going to go out there and they're going to crack on. Okay, brilliant. That's what we want. From a listening perspective, anytime one-to-one voice note or phone call support. Okay, so if your clients have the ability to ask you as a coach a question, deliver that voice note, okay, or offer a phone call. Then we've covered the listening aspect of delivering your coaching service, because they're not watching, they're not reading, they're not doing, they're listening to what you've got to say as a coach, okay? And then the final part, we can then offload coaches' notes and give feedback as a coach to your clients in regards to constructive feedback, what they need to improve on to be a better coach, okay? Or a better client, sorry, in this particular example, okay? So now that is now covering all 4 parts of that coaching column, which is what we want, okay? Now moving on to the final column, which is the mentoring column, we can deliver video tutorials of exactly what we do. Again, the mentor's job is to just pass down, this is what I do, okay? This is exactly how I work, okay? So video tutorials just showing what they actually do, okay? That's then covering the watching part. The doing part, this is the exact pathway that I followed, that I've walked down. Okay, here's what I did. That's the doing aspect. Here are the step-by-step things that I personally did to get from point A to point B. That's what I did as your mentor. Here's what I did, okay? The listening aspect, they can take podcast interview segments from maybe podcasts that the mentor has done where they're talking about their life experiences in certain scenarios. They're telling stories about real life situations where they've made progress in certain areas. The mentor can take snippets of that and pass that down to you as the client, okay? That's then the listening part, because they can sit there and they can listen to those podcast segments, okay? And then the final part, so mentoring, reading and writing. That mentor can write a book. They can write a book once that is telling their story, their journey, just as an example, and then obviously you're reading it as the client, okay? And that is ticking off that 12th and final box, okay? So now what we're doing here is we're taking what you might be doing right now, a very manual, a very one-to-one coaching service, and this is why you've got this such a low ceiling, okay? Now we're expanding it to these 12 points. We're becoming the best educator that we can possibly be. We're a teacher, we're a coach and a mentor. We're not just a coach, okay? And this is what we want to do. We want to expand. And then in regards to delivering that information to guarantee that our clients get the best results possible, we want to make sure that we're covering all 4 areas of delivering education. times them together, we're getting this 12-point system. And within these 12 points, it's one roadmap to take someone from point A to point B. We're just making sure that all 12 points are covered in that same program. So it's one program for the client, but they're getting everything here. And this is what we want to deliver. It will help you raise your value. It will help you get better results for your clients. And one thing that I'm just going to show you now, as you can see here, I've highlighted in gold. I've highlighted in gold certain aspects of these 12 points for a very, very specific reason, okay? Now, the highlighted sections here in gold are the things that can be automated. Automated, okay? So 10 out of these 12 things, as you can see, can be completely automated, taken off your plate, okay? So you're not manually spending that time actually delivering each of those components right now. Whereas right now, if you've got 40, 50 clients and you're at that ceiling, you feel like you're at that ceiling, it's because the chances are you're doing most things manually. So you feel like as a one-to-one coach, you've got to deliver everything manually because it's a one-to-one service. It's a bespoke service. And I completely get that and completely understand that, okay? But what we're doing here is we're not jeopardizing the quality of the service. We're improving it. We're expanding it. But in regards to those 12 points, you can automate 10 of those 12 points. So we're delivering a better service. We're more efficient. And we're only manually delivering 2 out of those 12 points of that 12-point checklist that we've actually got there, okay? Making sure that we are able to actually work with more clients, because if we can manually reduce our manual time in the business, we can work with more people, we can raise our capacity, and this is what we want to do. And this is how you can work with 100 clients plus one-on-one, but deliver a better service, not a worse service. This is actually a better service. It's better, it's more efficient, you get better results, you get more referrals, you have more testimonials. Your entire coaching business will level the fuck up. And this is exactly what we want to create, okay? We want to come away from that manual one-to-one repetitive service that you're offering right now. We want to expand and level things up. And this is what we want to do. But at the exact same time, you're reducing the manual aspect of what you're delivering as a coach, okay? And this is exactly how myself and my clients can work with over 100 clients plus, completely one-to-one. I don't have any team. There's no staff members in SoloCoach. It's me. I do everything, okay? So I do everything. It's just me. There's no staff members. There's no group coaching model to it. Everything I do is completely one-to-one, and it's because I have my own 12-point system in SoloCoach. I do exactly what I actually share. Mentoring, this is what I do, okay? That's the mentoring aspect to everything, because I show exactly what I do, okay? And it's an absolute game changer. And these are the lessons that I've learned over the last 14 years of delivering education and learning about education and being curious about education, okay? And implementing this into your own solo coaching business will change the game for you, okay? So that's an overview of how to actually raise your ceiling, grow to 100 clients plus, and deliver a better service, as I mentioned, and actually reduce your time, but remain one-on-one. So no group coaching, no mastermind, no additional revenue streams that you're trying to get in your business to proactively grow. Okay, this is remaining as a one-to-one coach, having a one-to-one coaching business, but this will then allow you to start earning 40, 50 grand a month plus as a one-to-one solo coach. And at the exact same time, I actually work less than 20 hours per week fulfilling my clients as well. Mind-blowing when I say that to most people, because they don't get it and they don't understand it, because they think one-to-one coaching is very, very manual, okay? Now, there are manual aspects to it. As a coach, you have to be hands-on, you have to be personable, you have to be there for your clients. Of course, that's why those 2 points out of those 12 in that example, I do not automate, because they're the most crucial parts that are going to move your clients through your program and make sure that they guarantee the result that they've actually came there for. So we can't automate everything, okay? but it's important that we become as efficient as we possibly can, okay? So if you want to plug in the full system, again, I've given you the overview, I've given you how this actually works, but in regards to what to actually do and how to plug it in for yourself, how to design this, create this, and plug it into your own business, this is exactly what I do in the Kickstart program. The Kickstart program is 30 days working one-to-one with me, and the whole intention, within a 30-day period, we will plug in the entire system for you. We'll plug in a highly profitable solo coaching business model into your business in 30 days, done. So you can then go ahead and work with 100 clients plus. You can reduce the hours in your business. You can deliver a better service. You can get better results. You can get more referrals. And we do it in a 30-day window working one-to-one with me. This isn't a long-term commitment. It's 30 days. And you're not going to sign up and get a co-coach or a success coach or someone that I'm going to palm you off to. You're going to get access to me directly. You're going to be speaking to me on Zoom calls. You're going to be getting the exact roadmap on how to plug in this system for you. And together, me and you, we're going to create this system and plug it into your business. And all you've got to do is click the link in the description, get started, secure your spot, and we can get to work. And over the next 30 days, that brand new system will be plugged in. And this is exactly what we want to do to create a highly profitable solo coaching business, okay? I'll see you there for the massive action takers. I hope you've enjoyed part 2 of this mini series. I hope you found this really valuable and very insightful. I really hope you have, okay? And for those of you that are still looking to wait, you're not ready to take action yet for some way or another, which is absolutely fine. Stay tuned for lesson 3 in this mini series that will be coming very, very soon.